Hello there, good morning. Welcome to another edition of Knocks to Nuggets. My name is Oluwayomi Ute, and it's such a joy to come your way this very beautiful morning. Now, to all mothers out there, happy Mother's Day to every single lady. Thank you for all you do. Without you, truly, the world will be a boring place. And so this is the Mother's Day edition on Nuggets to Nuggets. So Sunday was Mother's Day. Friday, the 8th of May, was International Women's Day. And today I have a phenomenal woman in the house, an Amazon by every standard. She's an author, she's a speaker, she's a trainer, and she has also been a broadcaster for about 5 decades, yes, nearly 5 decades. She was employed by the then NBC TV as an assistant producer, and she rose through the ranks and became the pioneer member of NTA Network News team, and thus the first woman to cast network news on Nigerian television. Hmm. Thereafter, she teamed up with her husband and became an independent radio TV producer, presenter, moderator, and compere. She established the Women's Optimum Development Foundation, and from 2000 to 2015, she partnered with several international organizations, convening workshops, producing radio jingles, radio and TV drama, promoting gender equity, equality, and highlighting gender-based violence. She was also elected national coordinator of the Global Fund for Women Network in Nigeria, which she headed for over 5 years. Wow, I'm so excited she's in the house. I'm actually just missing the lines. God has to help me. From 2002 to 2015, she was a consultant news anchor and trainer at the Channels Television Network and was honored with a Lifetime Achievement Award for Journalistic Excellence by the Wole Soyinka Center for Investigative Journalism in 2015. Hmm. Over the years, she has anchored hundreds of news bulletins, presented or moderated scores of live and recorded TV shows for the public and private sector at state, national, and international events. She is currently the CEO lead consultant at Strictly Speaking, and for the last 25 years, she has trained and coached various clients in elocution, public speaking, and communication skills. And in 2016, she published Strictly Speaking, Pronunciation Made Easy, and Strictly Speaking, an oral guide for schools and colleges, which has now been approved for use by senior secondary schools. Ladies and gentlemen, with me in the house with all the excitement is no other than the Amazon herself, Bimbo Oloyede. Hey, good to have you, ma'am.
Thank you very much, Oluyomi. I'm happy to be here too. I'm happy to be here.
Oh, wow. Happy Mother's Day, ma'am.
Thank you. Thank you so much. And the same to you.
Thank you very much, ma. And I had thought of several things to package into this short moment I have with you. But I will start with a question that kept tugging at the back of my mind. How did you find yourself in broadcasting? I mean, at that time, it wasn't popular. Broadcasting ladies, how was it a stroke of luck or what you love to do? How did you find yourself there?
Interesting way to start this conversation, honestly, Yomi. The thing is that I would say it was accidental. I could also say that it was fate, or if you like, the hand of God, because I was working as an assistant producer. I had absolutely no idea that that journalism or broadcasting or being in front of the camera was around the corner. I had no idea. So I was just given 24 hours, literally, notice, because people in my department, the drama department, had mounted a program. We had produced and presented a program during which time I read poetry. And I didn't know that at the time, the station was planning to go network as far as the news was concerned. I didn't know they were looking for fresh faces, fresh voices, that sort of thing. And so apparently they liked my voice, and my controller of programs, the late Eno Iruku, invited me to her office, and she said, right, tomorrow you've got, in fact, she gave me 24 hours because she said, tomorrow night you're going live, you are going network, you're going to read the news. And well, it was an instruction, so I really didn't have a choice in the matter. But interestingly, since I was about 10 or so, I've been having elocution lessons. So in a way, the those lessons, preparing myself in speech, taking part in drama competitions, public speaking competitions, that sort of thing, it all prepared me for
Mm,
24-hour notice. So it seems like it was 24 hours notice, but at that point I had had,
mm,
over 1 decade of of interest and practice in the spoken word, as it were.
mm, mm. Wow, that tells me the definition of luck. Preparation meeting opportunity. I mean, all
That's it.
over the years, I mean, God just kept preparing you for where He was taking you to, and I'm glad you
Mm,
are here. And you've been a
thank you.
role model for several ladies, several. You probably would never know the number of people whose life you have affected, who have never come in contact with you, who have never had the opportunity to tell you, this is what you've done, this is the impact you've made in my life. So thank you so much, man. This
Thank
Mother's Day,
you.
we truly do celebrate you.
Thank you.
And back to Mother's Day, I'm trying to stay on Mother's Day. But before I come to Mother's Day, man, let me ask you this. Now we've been having gone through that phase and now a mother, did you ever feel any pressure to make your children go in that same direction? Or how have you able to guide them in their own chosen professions?
My husband and I did not, we didn't influence them in any way. We left them to decide what they wanted to do. But the when something is, shall I say, in the blood, because my husband was a TV producer,
Yeah.
and so many a time, as the children were growing up, they would come back home from school, they would see cameras at home, they would see production going on. We were shooting TV commercials and things like that. So they grew up in that environment. They grew
Mm,
up not just watching commercials and documentaries being made, but also interacting with the people who made
mm,
those commercials and documentaries. So they actually had the opportunity, if they so chose, to pick up things as they were going
mm,
along.
mm,
Nobody ever really said, "Look, come to the studio, or when you come back from school, come and watch what we're doing." We never said that. But well, two of the children became interested, and took their interest to its logical conclusion. All right, because
mm,
one of them is, in fact, both of them are producers. But although they're
mm,
doing, other things in addition, but two of my daughters are producers.
producer.
So let's say the children were split down the middle. Two went this way, our way, and two went the other way, even though the other two are also interested in things to do
The media.
entertainment. Well, we
Mm,
lost one, we lost the first one, but she was interested in acting and things like that. So it kind of, it went
so,
all around. Yes, yes.
mm. Wow. Thank you so much, ma'am. So, for those who are wondering, so how has she been able to do it? You've gotten a little glimpse of that. Don't force your children into what you're doing. Keep doing what you're doing. As they see it, as they love it, they are free to embrace it. And if they don't embrace it, it's just okay. Let
Yeah,
everybody live their lives to the full.
that's
So,
right.
coming to motherhood, ma, you are a mother and a grandmother.
That's
So
right.
you'll be able to look through the spectrum and say, how has that journey been? As a mother, now for you growing up, for you raising your children and then raising your grandchildren, let's talk about that spectrum. How has it been raising children in your own time, And what would you say differs in raising children today?
Raising children in my time, I think, was simpler. I think it was easier than it is today. I mean, it is not that women of my generation did not work. Many of us did. Um, and in fact, to be honest, one or two of them, or some of them, I felt were maybe taking a bit of a risk. But when I look at it and I look back at the situation, um, you go for maternity leave at that time 6 weeks before you have your baby. You spend 6 weeks with your baby, and then you go back to work, even though perhaps for 2 3 months your hours are a little bit less than usual. But if you don't have somebody at home to help you look after your baby, then you're taking your baby to a daycare center. Now, I always used to think to myself, is it really safe? But then I looked at it. You hear stories of things that happen to children, to babies, when they are left at home with people that you don't know.
Yeah.
I was lucky that I always had people at home who were um, related to my husband in one way or another. And so when my children were growing up, basically, there was always somebody at home. Um, Although, I remember when I left NTA,
Mm.
and in between the time that we started the production company, I we started a supermarket. Now, I thought that living in the estate where we were, having the supermarket within that estate, I thought, my time is going to be mine. Okay,
Mm.
I had absolutely no idea what I was letting myself in for. Even though it was 10 minutes walk from between my house, literally, and the supermarket. I spent hours and hours. If I wasn't in the market, I was in the shops. If I wasn't in the shops, I was in the supermarket,
Okay.
dealing with one thing or the other. So I was under the impression that being self-employed, and very
Mm.
wrongly,
Mm.
it was
Mm.
an erroneous impression that being self-employed was going to
Gives you more
give
time.
me my time.
Mm.
Big fallacy, big lie. I actually had much more time when I was working at NTA than when I was running the supermarket. Because even though you might see me on the TV at 9 o'clock at night, and you think, oh my goodness, so she's been there all morning, what about her children? In actual fact, we worked 2 days on and 2 days off.
Mm.
So you were able to do a lot of things within those 2 days, that was off.
Mm.
So anyway, as I said, when I was bringing up my children, I had help. So I was lucky. The women of my daughter's generation
Yeah.
who are bringing up children now, um, I'm not so sure that they are as lucky,
Mm.
because with the change in society, and everybody, and rightfully, everybody feeling that they want an education, it is not so easy to find relatives
Yeah.
that would help.
True.
All right. So I
True.
think that the women who are bringing up children now, in fact, I don't envy them at all. I think it is a Herculean task,
Mm.
especially for those who go to work on a daily basis. Um, Now, from if I look at it from the view of a grandparent, now let me
Yeah.
say one more thing about the mothers of today, those rearing children today.
Mm.
One of the things that was very evident in my generation was that people felt that they were responsible for everybody's children.
Yeah.
So if you saw somebody's child, that even if you didn't know the parents, if you saw a child doing something that they weren't supposed to do, you would reprimand them.
Yeah.
If it was a child whose parents you knew, you would get in touch with the parents and
True.
say, I saw your daughter, your son doing this or that the other day. I'm not quite sure if he was supposed to be there. I'm not quite sure if she was supposed to be doing that, but I just thought I should let you know that this is what I observed the other day. So now we do a lot of minding of your own business. We
Yeah.
do a lot of it is not your business anyway. So
Yeah.
even if people want to help, even if people want to share their observations, a lot of parents don't want to hear it. They feel that, you mind your business and I will mind mine.
Hmm.
So that's one of the major differences between the time when I was bringing up my children and when and now that children are being brought up. And funnily enough, it also manifests itself physically, because I remember when my children were being brought up, the estate in which I lived, you could literally stand on the balcony of your house, and maybe 6 houses down the road, you would see your neighbor standing in his balcony, and you would shout across to him and say, one thing or the other, or you just, walk literally from one house to another. But over the years, everybody started building fences, so each house was demarcated, security had become an issue. And so all of these physical manifestations also had an impact on the um, on the social life
Yeah.
of parents and their children. So now, as a grandparent, I am sort of I'm taking a back seat,
Hmm.
in the sense that I'm not responsible for the day-to-day upbringing of
Yeah.
my grandchildren.
Yeah.
When I go to stay with them or when they come to stay with me, if I observe certain things, I point them out.
Okay.
Sometimes they're welcome, sometimes they're not. I mean, I'm aware that some of the things that I think, some of the observations that I make to my children about their children, those observations are not always welcome. Or
Hmm.
they may be welcome, but they may not always be accepted.
Hmm.
So it is better, in my estimation, if I have something to say, the ones that I think I should share with my children, I do. The ones that I think I should share directly with my grandchildren, I do that too.
Hmm. Wow. Wow. So it's finding that balance between handling the children directly and handling them through their parents. But ma,
Yes.
one naughty issue that has been a major thing is the issue of discipline.
Mm.
Today we are now in this in the scenario that says don't beat a child, caning is not allowed, it's child abuse. What are the things we grew up with? From your own perspective, ma, what's your opinion on that?
It's really difficult to say because we might have grown up on it, but the question that I do ask myself sometimes, and even our children grew up on it, how well did it really serve
The purpose.
them, and how well did it serve us?
Mm.
Now, I have a feeling that it may have served us, that is, women and people in my generation. I think it may have served us better than it served our children.
Mm.
Because by the time our children were growing up, a lot of things had changed.
Yeah.
So you had the human rights movement had become much more vocal.
Book of very.
Yes, and you had a situation where a lot of NGO operatives, CSO operatives, were going into schools, having discussions with children, teaching them about their rights and that sort of thing.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
which is fine. But one of the things perhaps that they did not really get across to them well enough is that with freedom comes responsibilities. So it is not enough to say, well, don't reprimand your children physically. Just talk to them and and hope for the best. Um, Sometimes you have to also become a little bit more creative in terms of punishment. Let me use the word punishment, because that is what
Mm.
it is. You do something wrong and then you're punished for it, and you hope that you learn from it.
Yeah.
So if you beat your child, it may not help.
Mm.
It may not
Mm.
help, especially if the child is one that um, really does not mind being beaten. Yes, I mean, there are some children that say, oh, okay, let me do this. I
Eh,
know what's going to happen, but when they're tired, then I can go back to living my life quietly. There are
mm.
some children like that. So I think we probably have to spend more time studying our children,
Mm.
understanding the kinds of people that they are, because you see, we just look at them, lump them all together and say they are children. We forget that they are individuals. They
Yeah.
are, if you like, small adults. And even though as they're growing, they are changing their attitudes, they are learning different things. But at the same time, you have to be able to connect with them on a personal level, so that you can understand what makes them tick, and
Mm.
the discussions that you have with them could help to teach them, let me say, self-discipline, because that's really what it's about. I don't
Mm.
think it's a good idea to consistently force certain things down the throat of children. There's
Oh.
no guarantee that it is going to get you the result that you're looking for.
Mm.
So I think we have to
Learn
um,
the balance.
we have to make the effort to understand them as individuals,
Mm.
because one size does not fit all.
No. So true. One size does not fit all. All the
Yeah,
children are not the same. Even
they're not.
Siamese twins, once they separate them, they are different personalities.
Absolutely,
Wow.
yes.
Thank you, ma. I want to take you on the journey of social media. You're a media person. And today's world, one of the things parents are struggling with their children is social media. I
Mm.
mean, the average child wants to go everywhere on social media. And then there are two schools of thought. Some say, no, 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 don't expose them to social media. It's bad, it's corrupt. But when you lock them up at home and say, don't look at it, they go to their friend's place, they have access to it. What would be your advice on the use of social media for parents who are still raising children today?
I think it's a very, very tough call, um, especially when you consider that many a time the children are much more adept at using the devices than the parents.
Absolutely.
A lot of parents, um, they know that their device is to make phone calls, use WhatsApp. They don't know the ins and outs. But it just seems as if these days the children are born with some kind of innate
Digital
knowledge
natives.
that I can't understand, you know. So you're struggling with something, and your grandchild says, Grandma, give it to me. Like, what is it you want to do? And so they've done it within the twinkling of an eye. You can't even learn because they've done it so fast. So honestly, it is a tough call. Um, but I do think that there should be a way of restricting their usage of social media, especially some of the platforms, because on the one hand, if you give them access to um, YouTube, for instance, anything that they're curious about, any topic that takes their fancy, all they need to do is type in the keywords and
And
the
get
pictures pop up. So, in as much as you want children to watch TV, you want them to have a leisure time and that sort of thing, I think it's very important, the screens, the big screens, and well, let me say the TV screens that are available at home, they should be doctored in such a way that the children don't have access to certain channels.
Mm. Mm.
That's one thing that I think needs to be done. Then I think there should be, and I can't really prescribe that age, but I think there should be an age below which you don't go in terms of giving children their own individual devices.
Mm. Mm.
Because
Mm.
even if you give a 10-year-old, for instance, a phone, and you say, oh, if there's a problem, they need to reach out to me, etc., etc. If you give them a phone, even if you say that, even if you restrict the times during which that phone is used, even if you leave the phone at home or keep the phone at home and say, all right, between 4 o'clock in the afternoon and 6 o'clock in the afternoon, for instance, you can use your phone if you want to watch cartoons or whatever. There is still no guarantee
True.
that they will stick to what you have asked them to watch.
True. True.
There is also the question of peer pressure, because
Mm.
what you are teaching your children at home may not be what other people are teaching their children.
True.
You are not party to the discussions that they have in school.
Mm.
You are not even party to the discussions that are held between your children and the
Mm.
people that you have placed at home to help them.
Very true.
So, if you have somebody that is helping you at home who wishes to watch XYZ and picks up their ward's phone and accesses those things, and then suddenly, I left something cooking
Fine.
in the kitchen, and then they drop the phone, they rush to the kitchen, they spend the next 30 minutes there. Whatever they were watching, your child has access to it. So
True.
it is difficult. It is difficult. And as the children are growing, the more time they spend on social media, let's say outside the circle of education, because access to social media is very helpful in education these days. Technology is helpful in education with smart boards and all that kind of stuff. These so much information is available to children in school through social media platforms.
Yeah.
But as children are growing, um, the more time they spend on social media, the more they are exposed to what I call a fantasy world.
Mm.
Because there are a lot of people on social media who are creating their world for themselves. What they have in their heads, what they want to, the way they want to live, how they want to be seen, is a total figment of their imagination.
Mm.
Now, the young child, the teenager growing up, does not know the difference between what is fake and what is real.
No.
And so, if you are the type of child that is easily influenced,
Mm.
that is easily persuaded
Mm.
that this is the kind of life that I want to
Lead.
lead, because this is because so and so is doing it, or this is the life that my idol lives, and that is the kind of life I also want to live, then you are leading them up the garden path.
Mm.
So it is really, really difficult
Wow.
for parents to be vigilant. That is one thing I would
That's
say. Parents really need to be vigilant. And then perhaps sometimes too, if you know your child well and you understand the kinds of things that interest your child, you are, as a parent, you are in a position to actually look for materials that can educate them, inform them, also entertain them, but materials that are productive, not destructive.
Mm.
So you can actually buy in to your child's social media life. Let me put it like that, because we talk about content creation.
Yeah.
it is not called content creation for no reason. Somebody is sitting down and creating that content
Hmm.
that your child is watching. So, whether it is professional, whether it is personal, whether it is, you know, phantasmagorical, let me use that word. The thing
Yeah.
is that at the end of the day, what you see on your device is what somebody
Hmm.
has sat down to create.
Hmm.
So they are either creating and developing on reality, or they are creating absolute fantasy.
True, true, true. Wow, that's a whole lot. Time is fast. Okay, I'll take this one question before I take your final word to mothers. How can parents handle a difficult child?
I think it takes time.
Mm.
I think it takes time for you to, first of all, recognize that that you have a difficult child. And you see, when you say difficult, what exactly
Are
does
you
it mean?
saying? Mm.
Because if you have a child that does not conform, that doesn't necessarily mean that that child is difficult.
True.
It could just simply be that that child is very, very creative, or that child is hyperactive, or that child is could even be a genius.
True.
But for you, because he or she is not living within the lane that you
Mm.
understand, you now say that that child is
It's
difficult.
difficult.
So it is, uh, I'm afraid I have to say that it could be trial and error.
Mm.
Um, because personally, I think looking back, perhaps my husband and I also um, dabbled. Well, I no, that's not quite the right word. But I looking back at the way we raised our children, I think there were aspects of trial and error in what we did. Um, but I think also that much more now than then, help is available.
Mm. True.
I think the idea of being at home and thinking to yourself, oh my goodness, I have this issue. My child is not quite, she doesn't seem, or he doesn't seem to be quite like the others. Um, what do I do? Well, nobody actually taught you to be a parent. Nobody. There are books, but those books, again, um, they are they are generic. It's
Yeah.
generic information because each child is different. So,
True.
in as much as nobody has taught anybody how to be a parent, and it is a journey that you have to navigate yourself, I would say that if you find yourself in a situation where you think your child has issues or there are things that you don't understand, seek for help. There are
Mm.
people who may understand it much, much better than you.
Mm.
So we have psychologists, we have therapists, we
Yeah.
have therapists who are trained to
For
talk
sure.
to children,
Yeah.
trained to ask the questions that you don't know should be asked.
Mm.
And so there's no reason why you cannot seek for help. You can go first of all beyond your immediate circle. I mean, if you have an issue, you have parents, that you can go to. If you don't think that your parents have the answers or your parents make suggestions, that is the children's grandparents. If
Yeah.
they are not in a position to help, then go outside.
Mm-hmm.
Go outside, ask for
Mm.
help, and
Get
don't
help.
wait. Don't leave it too long. Get help because, um, as I said, really nobody has all the answers,
Mm.
especially when it comes to parenting.
Mm. Wow, get help. Nobody has all the answers,
Mm.
particularly parenting. Thank you so much, Ma. I will want to take your final words, but before I do that, hmm, ladies and gentlemen, guess what? Friday is around the corner. I have just a minute, ma'am. I have this little video I just need to show, and then we'll continue. So just a minute, enjoy this video.
Hello, I'm Bimbo Oloyede. On the 15th of March 2024, I will be 70. I want to seize the opportunity of my 70th birthday to raise 100 million naira for cancer research and the treatment of cancer patients in public hospitals. Will you help me to facilitate research? Will you support this fundraising drive to provide items that every patient can use, no matter their financial status? Our target is 100 million naira, but no amount is too small. People need your help now. The account name and the details are displayed on your screen. That would be my best birthday gift that I could ever ask for. I am Bimbo Oloyede, and I thank you.
Wow, wow, wow. Somebody is 70 on just a 4 days away, Friday. Happy birthday, ma. Wow,
Thank you.
looking
Thank you
good
very much.
at 70. We truly do celebrate you. Congratulations. And we
Thank you.
pray that your health will not fail you. You will stay
Amen.
relevant, in good health, joyful all
Thank
your
you.
days. And
Amen.
70 is the new 40, because looking at you, I would say you are 40. So 70 looks like the new 40.
Oh my goodness me. Well, thank you for flattering me.
No flatters, ma, because honestly, I saw you a few months ago and I'm like, wow, this is elegance in motion. Thank you for all you do. But let me ask you this before I take your final word. This clip just got it to me. Why did you think of this for your 70th birthday?
Basically, because some members of my family have experienced cancer, different parts of the body, and it is it's quite a harrowing experience, both for them and members of the family. And when we were considering how to commemorate this milestone, we decided that looking back and looking at the experiences that we had had, we said when we had these challenges, we had to reach out to people to help, because treating cancer is a very, very expensive. It's an expensive. I don't know the right word to say, venture.
Expensive venture.
Yes, it's an expensive journey. So we thought, okay, let's see if we can raise money, first of all, for cancer research, and then secondly, having experienced one or two things, we believe that if we can make some accessories, some equipments available to the oncology departments in public hospitals, patients who are going through treatment would experience less discomfort. And the day that they spend in the hospital would be a little easier to bear. So that's why we decided to launch this fund.
Wow, that's really amazing, and thank you so much for that. I mean, that's really huge, and I know humanity will remain grateful for that. Thank you so much. So I need to let you go. I know your schedule, so ma, please, your final words to mothers as we celebrate Mother's Day. By the way, somebody said grannies spoil children. Is that really true? Well, I'll leave that to you as you do your final words.
Yes, I think sometimes that is the case. Sometimes that is the case. But I think on the whole, parents need to spend as much time as they possibly can. And when we talk about time, it doesn't necessarily have to be many, many hours. But you see, that time needs to be quality time. It needs to be time that is properly planned so that you get the best out of it. You make the most of that time that you have with your children, teaching them about different types of principles, different types of values, talking to them, sometimes pointing out some people in history, who have done certain things, and how they have made an impact on people's lives. Little things like appreciation, and it sounds little, but it goes a long way. Things like, appreciation, knowing how to say thank you, knowing how to, to ask nicely for things, how to say please, um, and not believing that everything in life is about you. In as
Mm,
much as I agree that if you don't love yourself, if you don't take care of yourself, you really can't do much for others. However, taking care of yourself and loving yourself and knowing yourself puts you in a position to be able to reach out to others. It enables you to be confident in who you are and less selfish about
mm.
your daily life, such that you can reach out to other people and give a helping hand or be a listening ear. There are many people walking about who are who they well, they may not live alone, but they are lonely.
Mm,
and
mm,
and that listening ear goes a very long way. So I would say that mothers should take time to bring up their children um, in along such lines. um, and I think integrity is important. I think honesty is important.
mm.
And well, the truth is also, at the end of the day, whatever you have, whatever you amass, none of it is going with you. So, in as much as you want to have nice things, you want to go to nice places, etc., etc., um, those things cannot be the they cannot be your ultimate goal.
Hmm.
You may get those things along the line, because how many houses are you going to live in at one time, at a
Uh,
go? How many cars are you going to drive at a
not more
go?
than one at a time.
Well, so I think that the clamor for too many things kind of beclouds our judgment.
Mm.
So I think that, that mothers should what is that? There's a popular expression: should calm down. Should calm down. Yes, calm down and spend downtime with
Mm,
your children. Get to know
mm,
them, and whilst you're getting to know them, use that opportunity to get certain things into their minds, their brains, their hearts, into their thinking, so that it becomes a guide for them for life.
mm. Wow. Mothers should calm down. That's really a whole lot to chew on. Thank you so, so much, man. Having you today is a dream come true. I thought it was something that would be tough to do, but you accepted it with so much ease and grace. Thank you so much for your time. Thank you for
Thank
sharing
you.
your story with us. Thank you for also the opportunity to share your birthday plan with you. And for those, if in case you missed it, it's a donation to Lifeline Advocacy and Development Initiative. That short video will be on my timeline, so you can look out for it as well. And you can just
Thank you very much.
donate it on your own. You don't need to talk to anyone. Just go to Fidelity Bank app. Go to Fidelity Bank from your bank app. 560120641 That video will be on my timeline. Watch it and be a part of it. Once again, thank you so much, ma'am. Really good
Thank
having
you
you.
very
I
much.
wish you a glorious, glorious, glorious celebration. Thank you
Thank you
so
so
much,
much.
ma'am.
Thank you. I appreciate it.
Yes, ma'am. Thank you.
Thank you.
Wow, did you enjoy that? I thought it was going to be 30 minutes. We couldn't do it in 30 minutes. It's so much. And a big thank you to everyone that made it possible. Thank you so much to our guest today. She shared from her heart. And I'm sure for every mother, every auntie, every grandmother out there, you learned a lot. And one thing you must not forget, know your child, know your grandchild, know that child that is looking up to you, and be able to guide them. We are guardians at the end of the day. So please know your child, look for the right materials, expose them to it, and when necessary, get help. It's not a crime. to get help. Again, is the Mother's Day edition, and thank you to everyone that has watched live. I do appreciate you. And for those that will watch after now, thank you so much for giving me a share of your time. And like I will always say, please like the video, share it, let somebody out there know about Knox to Nuggets. And until I come your way next week in another edition of Knox to Nuggets, don't ever forget it. If you can think it, you can be it. And yes, you can have it. And as always, together we win. God bless you. Enjoy the rest of the week. And bye for now.